morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for day 5 of Make Your Own Sourdough Starter with me. Today we're going to look at our starters and see what they look like and see how they smell, and we'll feed them. So today's going to be somewhat of a short day, but every day is basically feeding and checking on your starter. So here's my starter. And it's nice and bubbly. Let's see. And it still smells a bit funky. It's not as bad as yesterday, but it still smells a bit funky. So mine looks like it's going to be taking a little bit longer. I did feed it last night, so we're feeding it every 12 hours now. And you can notice when you stir it up that it will smell even stronger. A lot of the odor sits on the bottom, and sometimes even a liquid on the bottom. So I'll go ahead and pour out I'll pour out most of it and leave about 30 grams of starter in again. If you want to, you can take another container and measure it so that it's exact, but you don't really need to be exact. Just leave approximately 30 grams of starter in the bottom, and we'll refeed it. So I'm going to tear out the scale, and I think that I'm going to be adding 60 grams of water and 60 grams of flour today, because it just seems to me that my sourdough starter might need a little bit more food. And the reason I say that is because this morning when I smell it, it just seems like that the activity and the smell of it should be a little bit better. So it doesn't really smell sour yet, or it doesn't have the smell of acetone, but my instinct just tells me to feed it a little bit more. So this morning I'm going to add 60 grams of water and 60 grams of flour, and then I will do the same tonight. And I'm still using the mixture of all-purpose flour and white whole wheat flour. It's about a 50-50 mixture. I'll tear out the scale again. Just a little touch more. Okay. I'll stir that up. And this starter's been kept at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 21 degrees Celsius. It's a pretty average room temperature. If your room temperature is cooler, it will take a little bit longer for your starter to start fermenting and become active, and if your room temperature is a bit warmer, it might go a little quicker. So I'm going to stir it really good and incorporate some oxygen in there. Oxygen helps invigorate the microorganisms a bit. However, as I've said before, the sourdough starter does not need to breathe. It doesn't need for you to keep the lid cracked open. It can take a sealed lid, one where the air can't get in at all, because it's anaerobic. It does not need air to survive. So I will put this sourdough starter at room temperature, and I will feed it again this evening, and we'll see how it's doing tomorrow. So take a look at your starter today and smell it and look at it, see how bubbly it is. See if you still have a bunch of liquid separation on the bottom. And very often if you do, that's where the stronger smell comes from. Stir it up, pour out most of it, and refeed it. And then during the day, just notice how well it's doing. If it gets bubbly, if it's starting to try to double in the jar, just keep an eye on it and notice what's going on with it. I also wanted to say that we're following this, my book here, Make Your Own Sourdough Starter. This is available for free as an ebook download from northwestsourdough.com. and from my membership site, the Baking Network. So if you go on to either one of those two sites, you'll be able to download this book for free. If you want a paperback version like this, it's available on Amazon. It's like $3 and something, $3.99 or something. So if you want to use this book while you're following along, then go to one of those sites and download it, or purchase it on Amazon. So here we are. This is the end of day 5, and I'm real happy with my sourdough starter. It's coming along really good. So how is your sourdough starter doing? You can go to Perfect Sourdough and leave a comment there. Perfect Sourdough is on Facebook. It's our large group of sourdough bakers. So you can leave a comment there or a photo showing us how well your starter's doing on day 5. So that's it for today. I hope that everything's going along good for you. I'll be looking here in a moment to see if there's any questions. So stick around and I'll answer any questions you might have. Let me get my glasses here. Oh, hello NP Husker from Florida. And hi Mervat, you're saying hi, I finally can see you live. I'm glad you're able to see me live. So NP Husker, you are using your sourdough starter today. That's great. Maybe you should stop in at Perfect Sourdough on Facebook and let us know what you're making. How old is your oldest starters? Mine is a little over 2 years now. I used to collect starters from around the world, and I have like maybe 12 to 14 different starters, but they're all in dried condition, except for the one that I use all the time and my new one here. And my oldest one is about, I think, 120 years old. And it's dried and I don't use it. It's a very long fermenting starter. It takes a long time to double. But anyway, I personally feel that starters don't necessarily get better after they're stable. They seem to me to keep their stable characteristics. But it is really fun for a lot of people to think that their sourdough starter may have come from generations ago and is still alive and making great bread. So I have nothing against feeling wonderful about having an old starter, but I think your new starter, after it stabilizes, which usually takes about 2 weeks, is a really good starter too. So I don't see any more questions there today. If you join us later and you want to ask more questions, then just look in the comment section under the video and you can ask questions. And I'll be checking to see if anyone's asking, and I'll try to answer them. So we'll see you tomorrow on day 6, and I hope everyone's sourdough starter is doing wonderful. Bye-bye.